on the,
No, I want to continue.
there we go.
Hi, David. Hi, Faith. Hi, Joy. Hi, everybody.
Oh, Joy's here. Good. Why is she?
Joy, you're
not showing?
muted. Okay.
One day I'll figure out how to see everybody at one time. There we go.
Yeah, it's the view. Oh,
There we go. Now I can count noses. 1, 2, 3,
Jasmine.
4.
Jasmine, I love the accolades you got at Maryland. You did a really great job on that. It was, Autumn was very proud of you.
Yeah, he said some very kind things. I really appreciate it.
Yes, he did. Congrats.
Thank you.
So just for clarity, Joy makes quorum, is that correct? As
We
well
need
as
4
Dan?
people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5.
who's missing?
Okay.
Well,
Uh,
Chris is not on the board anymore, right? Or he resigned?
Technically he is, but he has,
Dan, you're
he's
muted, Dan.
determined. And Daryl Baum is the same situation. He is still on
Right.
the board. And we have a guest. So let's go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Okay.
At 5:30 and 3. And would you take attendance, please?
Yep, Chair Flick,
Speaking.
Vice Chair Gonella,
Here.
Board Member Celia,
Here.
Board Member Campbell is currently absent, Board Member Montanti,
Here,
Board Member Baum is currently absent, Board Member Anderson,
Present.
and then Main Street Joy.
Is that your handle, Joy? Main Street Joy? I like it. I like it. It's kind of
I
badass.
like that. Yeah.
Joy, you're
Don't mess
muted.
with Main Street Joy.
Do we have any public comments at this time?
I'm attempting to be at the Movie Colony East meeting at the same time, only because it's my Zoom. So I'm just going to get them set up while we're here, and then I'm
Okay.
going to pay all of my attention to VillageFest.
Right. We're gonna go
But
through
that's
our
why I'm
agenda
muted.
formalities and then you can come back to us.
Marie, if you had any public comment, you're on mute. I'm not sure if you're trying to speak. If you are, you're on mute. And if you're not, then we'll carry on.
Okay, moving on. Do we have any board comments?
Nope.
Seeing no board comments, do we have any correspondence?
We have none.
Excellent. I like the way this is going. Do I have a motion to accept the consent calendar?
Motion to accept.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? And moving right along. All right, here comes the fun part.
Approval of the minutes.
That was part of the consent calendar.
Okay, sorry. My
No
fault.
worries. We are getting ready to reopen. So I know Jasmine has a lot, and I think I shared this with many of you, that we have a couple things I've learned is that the ribbon cutting will be a joint event with the Wellwood Library, because that will actually be opening on the 1st as well. Agua Caliente will be sending bird singers to sort of get things rolling, which is really good news, at least to me. And after that, I will turn it over to Jasmine for 1,001 fabulous minutia things.
Actually, we don't have very much in terms of update. We are moving along on the logistical front. We're going to do basically a bit of a drive-through, kind of dry run with the facility and maintenance department, the streets department. PD is going to come out and just kind of try and kind of remind everybody the process of the street closure so that on July 1st, we can run the street closure pretty seamlessly. As you're aware, it's a very tight closure in terms of timing. The streets department, which is actually it's the streets department in conjunction with the downtown maintenance crew who close the streets for us. They start probably about 20 minutes before the closure actually starts they do all of the pre-signage that goes out in terms of advance warnings for people who are driving down Palm Canyon, driving down Amato, Andreas, and also now Museum, and a little bit of signage will go on to Tockwitz on both the east and west side. So they start placing that stuff out, and then we close Palm Canyon. It typically is probably about 10 to 15 minutes before 6 o'clock. So we just are going to kind of do a drive-through and make sure that we're all on the same page so that the closure on July 1st happens pretty seamlessly. So that's going to take place next week, so that we're early next week, so that we're all on the same page. Each department thus far seems very responsive and excited about the reopening of VillageFest. We imagine there probably will be a couple kinks that we aren't ready for, or that we're not used to, but we are going to try and prep for those. We did order some additional signage that will go up for the no parking areas along Museum, because that's a new part of the closure that we are adding to this event for the phase 1 opening. So that'll go up probably early next week on Museum Way. Yeah, Museum Way, sorry. I wish we could have got a different name than Museum Way and Museum Drive. But so
it wasn't the most creative day.
Yeah, for sure. So that's scheduled to go up early next week. But I think on the kind of logistical front, from all of the different divisions within the city that actually make VillageFest happen, we are ready to go. We have on our SEPT meeting next Tuesday, we're going to kind of just talk through a couple more logistics. So if anybody has any interest, you're more than welcome. Those are still on Zoom for the time being. You're more than welcome to chime in and listen to some of those logistics. But I feel really comfortable with the opening. On terms of VillageFest vendors, Faith has been working very diligently on contacting all the vendors, letting them know when our start date is and who's going to get started. I'm sure you're all aware that there is a permitting process that happens with VillageFest. So you have to have a business license, you have to have your reseller's license, you have to have a health department permit. So there's a lot of kind of just smaller items that Faith has been working on, getting all of our vendors prepared for a start on July 1st. Right now on her list, she has about 61 vendors who are going to be out on July 1st. And we feel pretty comfortable with that number. We're still working on the spacing of the street. We hope to probably get that portion figured out by the end of the week, so that so Faith can provide assignments at the beginning of next week to all of the vendors. The spacing numbers are still out on the street. We did a walkthrough, so all of the numbers are okay. We're just going to have to add some space numbers onto Museum Way. But we feel really good. It's a pretty good diverse group of vendors that will be starting on July 1st. What else is there? Does anybody have any questions in terms of our reopening date?
So you said the street closes about 5:45. So what I'm thinking is we probably need to have the board there. Probably, I'm thinking, because we want to be assembled, even though it's a little hot, probably between 5:30 and 5:45 at the corner in front of Wellwood Library. Does that sound about right from the conversations you've had on planning?
Well, the ribbon cutting is at 5 o'clock. So
5 o'clock.
The ribbon cutting takes place at 5. So you should ideally be there about 15 minutes before
So 4:45.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to be at Wellwood Library 4:45.
Is that
Yes.
Tockwitz and Palm Canyon?
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to post some no parking on Tockwitz Canyon. It'll say no parking, and then it'll say, some of them will say mayor and council, and some of them will say VillageFest board, so that you'll have space to pull up and park pretty close to where the ribbon cutting will actually take place.
And where
And
would
Julia-
that,
where is that?
yeah, where is that?
Okay, that's going to be on Tockwitz Canyon between Palm and Indian.
Okay, so we can park there.
Correct. And then as soon as everybody leaves, our streets department is going to come through and remove all the signage so that we can get some of the public to be able to park there.
So are
Julie,
we
you had a
actually, sorry, go ahead.
Julie, you had a question and then Dan.
Jasmine, will all the fencing be down around Maryland by that time as well, so it's prettier?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're just waiting for the cameras to go up that are supposed to be on her for 24 hours a day. Those are supposed to be up by tomorrow. So as soon as those are up and we confirm that everything's running, all that fencing will be down. The only fencing that will stay up is on the north end of the park, just for safety until we can get, until the park is finished.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Dan?
I have two questions. One is about Tockwitz between Palm Canyon and Indian Canyon. Will that actually have any vendors on it? Will it be part of the route?
No,
Or
that
just the
is
parking?
correct. Well, yes, it'll be open to public parking. On the first, it'll be open to the mayor and council and the VillageFest board. But once
Just for
everybody
parking.
departs, we'll remove all of that and it'll be just general parking. Currently, east and west traffic on Tockwitz Canyon will remain moving at all times.
Oh, so Tockwitz will be over, okay.
Right.
And what was the other question I had about the vendors? Oh, so the 61 vendors that we have now, that's the maximum number that have committed to coming at all in the summer at this point. So that's the extent of our phase 1 population, correct?
I wouldn't say the extent. We do have some vendors who have said they can't come back on the first, but they do plan on coming back during the summer season. So it's, just like during the season, the number of vendors fluctuate quite a bit in
Okay.
terms of, someone can call and say, oh, I see it's going to be 118. I'm not going to come out today. Or, the ice cream
Yeah, of
vendors
course,
will make sure they're out every Thursday based on heat. So right
So-
now at this point, we're at 61 for the first. That could fluctuate up or down.
And do we
When
have any
we-
other vendors? Sorry, Daryl, hold on one second. So do we have any other vendors that have that are not part of that 61 that have expressed a desire to come back when we establish phase 2, understanding that it would probably be in the early fall?
It's not necessarily the phase 2 portion, it's just the weather portion. So
Okay.
sometimes vendors kind of just watch, and if it starts to cool down sooner, which sometimes it does in early September, they'll start to return.
Okay, sorry, Daryl, go ahead.
So with Faith and I saw a couple of vendors on the grand reopening that, God bless them, they stuck it out as long as they could and then retreated to air conditioning and ice water. And a few that didn't manage to make it because of the heat. The 10-day forecast right now is roughly about 110, which, having done it on those days, is actually, it's not easy, don't get me wrong, but it's tolerable at that time of day.
Not
I am
120.
Right.
no
That's not my
118.
limit, 120.
118 was a little mean a couple weeks, about 10 days ago.
Mhm.
I am planning to bring a chest full of ice and ice water for us to make sure we stay hydrated and have things to share if need be. But all things considered, it's manageable for us, and vendors, I'm sure, are going to be coin tossing. I want the money, I want the business, but I can't stand the heat. We saw some very cool battery operated toys, every pun intended, of fans and coolers and all manners of stuff last week.
Glad you clarified that, Daryl.
Oh, I was thinking it, Julie. I didn't say it.
Yeah. So our vendors are pretty much in place. The city's pretty much in place. Any word from Amy? If not, I will call her tomorrow with the city and see if we can get a plan.
Regarding,
The ribbon cutting itself.
yes,
I don't know.
I talked to Amy today. She's still working on a timeline for the
Okay.
event. Mhm.
Joy?
Yes, I was just wondering, so you have about 60 vendors for July 1st. Normally, how many vendors would July 1st have approximately? I mean, is that like severely shorter than July's normally
That's a
are?
very good question, Joy. And actually, Faith and I had this conversation earlier in the day. It is not off of our normal July schedule.
Okay.
that's
July
good.
is when it typically starts to really heat up. So we're probably about 10 to 15 vendors off of what normally would be during the month of July. So that's not,
Oh,
it's not bad at all.
excellent.
Mhm.
That's really
Celia?
good news.
Yes, how many of the vendors are food people?
Great question. I was gonna ask that.
Well, I'll let Faith answer that. She has the list.
Do we need to have dinner first or after? Or
I
can we
guess
just eat?
really, let's clarify the question. How many are actual food vendors and how many are farmers market type of vendors?
Right. Fair enough.
Well, right now we have 10 food vendors that are signed up. But every food vendor has to go through the health department
Yeah, of
again.
course. Mhm.
And it takes them a couple weeks because someone else is filling in. So that's taking a little bit of time. So I'm hoping that they can get all their credentials in order before starting. And then for
Are
farm,
those part of the, excuse me, Faith, are those part of the 61 that you're
Yes.
talking about? Okay,
they are, yes,
so it could be shorter than 61.
correct.
Okay.
Feasible.
So one. I have 7 farmers market vendors signed up.
So 3 restaurants and 7 farmers markets.
10 restaurants. And then
Oh, 10.
10.
So
yeah.
of the 61, 10 are actual meal
Food
purveyors,
that would
and
be
then
in
the other
food-
ones are 7 farmers market. Okay.
Correct.
So that leaves 40, like 40, what, 7? Is that
Yeah.
right? Actual arts and crafts people?
Right.
Correct. We do have some downtown merchants. We have a nice mixture of everything, some nonprofits and things like that. So it's a nice mixture of all of the different vendors that
So
we.
how many downtown merchants are there in the 61?
There are 6.
Okay.
6.
So we have about 41-ish crafts vendors.
More like
We do have
35.
nonprofits in there as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
more like 30.
So it actually sounds like somewhat of our normal mix.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everybody though are people that have already been approved and everything, right? They're
Correct,
people
yes.
that you're familiar with.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Well, they've been
And
approved by
just
us,
let
but
you
not by the
know-
Board of Health.
Yes, I understand. I just want to let you know that at my store, we're going to be open till 10. So if you actually want like an actual bathroom, you could use it. Only VillageFest staff and.
Yay.
Joy, will you be able to slip out at 4:45?
Yes,
And you'll only be on one ribbon cutting, you'll not be doing multiple ones at the same time?
correct.
Okay. Do we have a ETA, Faith, or Jasmine on the VillageFest shirts?
I do not. The order has been placed.
Okay,
I'll follow back up and ask what day.
so
Not to be able to
to,
get them in before July 1st. So
okay, so
And
to share
Julie,
with,
yeah, I don't know if Julie was in on the selection. I seem to be, it's me, Jasmine and
Yeah.
Faith that were cardigan people as opposed to polo shirts and Joy.
Right.
Yeah.
so
So,
yes, we ladies are getting cardigans and we got them with roll up this little band on the sleeves so that you have that. Guys are getting a sort of 50s bowling kind of cut shirt that's should breathe. It's a microfiber that is supposed to wick and breathe. They are the closest match of blue that we could come up with to also set off the logo, and that historically has been a color used before. And if we do not have shirts available for whatever reason, supply, demand, they're held hostage or something, My request is that everybody from the board come to the ribbon cutting in a white shirt, preferably with a collar. Remember, you're going to be on TV across the valley. And I'll come back in a second, Celia. A nice footnote on this little thing is that when I told Amy, who is the director of communications and public relations for the city, that we will be, the board will be there. We will be there in full force. We will be in new VillageFest shirts showing off VillageFest. She sort of, her response was, oh, wow, I better tell the library to get t-shirts or something so they look as good. So we have set the standard.
So
Celia?
Daryl, where is the logo on the women? So what does the logo look like? Is it on the back of this,
No, it's on the breast.
on the breast? And what do you mean by a collar? White, most women don't have collared white shirts.
If you, I'm asking for a white collar. I'm just looking for that professional feel. So just a white blouse, white collar, white shirt. So we all match. If the other shirts don't come through, something you'd wear to work. How's that?
So it could be sans collar.
Can I
Okay,
make,
I'll come back to Joy.
I don't have a white shirt that has a collar on it. I don't think many women do. I can get a white shirt, but I cannot.
Just
I
a
don't-
white shirt. I would
Okay.
just a white shirt.
Okay.
Joy, I'll come dress you this week.
Thank you.
Julie, yes.
you know, on camera, just to let you know, white does not show up. You might
I was
want to.
gonna say that.
Well, okay.
Oh,
Right. However, asking this group to come up with a white shirt versus a shade of blue and or green that we all are cohesive and come together, it's probably easier, especially standing out in the sun.
what about yellow?
What about just solid color? You
Just a
can't
solid
come up with white.
yellow.
Just a solid color.
Can I see a show of
Solid
hands?
yellow.
Everybody who owns a white shirt.
Collarless.
I don't care at this point. This is way too
I'll
hard.
buy one. I'll buy
Okay.
one.
I'll
Okay.
have to find one.
Okay, let me
Where am I?
simplify this. Could we all show up as if you were going to a corporate job? How's that?
That's not what Village Fest is about.
No, but this board is becoming regarded as a very hardworking professional entity.
We're
And so
ambassadors to the community and to the vendors. For a first
Right.
time, people are gonna put a face and a logo with customer service.
Our event is arts and crafts, but right now for the ribbon cutting, all I'm asking is that everybody show up with that. We are representing Village Fest, we're representing the city.
Okay.
Got it.
I will let, as soon as we get some hard time frames so people know what to expect in their lives, but it sounds like we have a pretty good agenda. What time to get there, bringing ice water. We'll make the best of it in whatever, the Witch of Tockwitz gives us. And we'll go from there.
I'll send everybody an email on Monday of a timeline of what
Okay.
that event looks like. So I'll send it out to the entire board on Monday.
And then if I could ask, because I learned a lot from talking to the vendors in a much calmer environment last week, if we could ask, depending on the heat and health issues, and I don't want anybody getting sick or hurting themselves, but take the time to do a lap through VillageFest and talk to people. I think it would look good for us, but it also, I think the vendors would be appreciative to know that they're talking to the board.
So we should wear our badges too.
If you got them and find them, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
gotta
don't have,
figure
I
out where
actually
mine
never
is.
got a badge. I don't have
Well,
one.
we spoke about that privately, Dan.
Can we get badges? I don't have them.
Yeah, how quickly can you get badges for us?
I'll call tomorrow and order some.
I have one. I don't need one.
Yeah. I gotta find mine.
Easier, and if we don't have the cardigans in time, then at least if everybody has a badge to wear,
Right.
that would be very
Right.
nice.
Yeah.
No, it's like,
People, go ahead, Julie.
It's like, the Palm Springs Chamber, they have turquoise colored polo shirts. We can get, a different color, and then put our badge with that. I thought yellow would be pretty because it's the sun.
Look, Julie, you weren't here last week and I completely vetoed the idea of women wearing polo shirts. I refuse to wear one.
Okay,
So with it, it's that conversation that we took care of all that, but we're trying to see what we can do to overcome that. But yes, it's on the same concept. So we can be found in a crowd if we need to, especially on opening day. Jasmine, anything else on the big first?
Sorry. No, I feel on a staff level, I feel very comfortable with the reopening. Our various divisions feel comfortable. So in terms of the reopening, I think we're good. Faith will continue to process applications. That is something that she and I discussed today in terms of if we're ready to start seeing new vendors. And she does have quite a few applications that are coming in. So this will be our last virtual meeting. We're going to start holding them in person so that we can start to see new vendors. So we will anticipate that our following meeting from this one will be in person in the large conference room so that we could start bringing in some new vendors.
Which will be on July 13th, correct?
I have to figure that out. Yes, it should be scheduled for July 13th. I am not sure if we're going to have staff available on that date. So I need to work that out with my director, and then I'll report back to Daryl on how we should move forward with that.
Okay.
Technically, it would not be on the 13th. That is not the second. It's the
Right.
second and fourth Tuesday that we
The
meet.
13th is the second Tuesday, Joy. That's why I mentioned it.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should be the 13th and 27th.
Jasmine, what is the sense because of all the changes, anomalies, the council's urgency on phase 2? If memory serves me, August is usually quiet. We go dark, as it were.
Yep.
What is the city's take on that this year?
So most commissions still are going dark. We're one of few commissions who started later. A lot of other commissions started back up virtually. It's just because our event wasn't moving forward. We didn't have business to discuss yet. So we would have to decide that as a board, how we want to approach that. City council does go dark in August. You know what, I need to confirm that. I'm not sure if they're going dark this August or not, but
Right.
A lot of various commissions and boards do typically go dark in August. So we can decide as a board how we want to approach that. It's been positive for VillageFest because we don't receive a lot of applications during that time frame. August is just one of those months that's really difficult for people to get started. So there's not a lot of enthusiasm behind that idea. And the few applications that we do receive are people who want to start in the fall. So our first meeting in September, we tend to have a decent collection of applications of people who are ready to get started in late September, early fall.
I thought that we talked about that because we talked about whether we were meeting in July or not. And we were going to meet in July, and because there's no meetings in August, because quite frankly, I'm already scheduled to be out of town on the 10th and the 24th.
And that,
I'm away for like 3 weeks, and I took the liberty to do that because I thought we were closed for the month of August. So
and that's absolutely fine. That can be up to the board's discretion. We historically do take the month of August off as a board.
Yeah.
I'm also gone for 2 weeks in August.
Yeah.
I'm not.
All right, let's before we make it, let's sort of table that idea for right now based on how the first goes, and just sort of, I think I play it by ear would leave me more comfortable than making a blanket decision right now.
Okay.
Especially if we have, phase 2 and other things to look at in those items.
That's true. That's fair.
All right, so it sounds like we're in good shape for the first. And then does anybody have any other thoughts, questions, or concerns or? Okay,
I have some Main Street comments when that time.
Okay.
is correct.
we will get to that. Do you want to talk about phase 2, Jasmine?
I don't have an update at this time. I did pass the information on to the engineering department, and they're going to work on creating a traffic plan of what that phase 2 would look like for the board. And then I'd like to take it to the special events planning team so that I could get their feedback on the actual logistics of making that closure and how traffic would be detoured around it. And then ideally report that back to the board at their next board meeting.
Are we expecting the park list to still be there at this point, or do we not know yet?
Joy, do you have any?
We don't know yet, but it looks like they probably will be at least on that block there, from Arenas to Baristo. It looks like it. I can't really say
Okay.
just yet.
So then, Jasmine, are you talking to the traffic department about doing a traffic plan for the secondary proposal, which was to extend up beyond Amato?
Correct.
Or are you looking at us integrating in with the parklets?
No, so we've already processed the potential for phase 2 of integrating into the parklet portion, so the southbound option. So what I sent to engineering was to create a traffic plan of our last discussion, which was the northbound. So from Amato up to Alejo Road. So that's
Okay.
what they'll work with, because that's actually the street portion. Now, I know that the board discussed not utilizing where the construction zone is going to be. So that would have to be more of a kind of administrative choice for the board to make, to not utilize that space, or to utilize that space for something other than vendors. And we can figure that out later down the line if this is the road we'd like to go on, because what we would have to do if the board decides they want to look at phase 2 moving northbound is that does need to go back to city council, because currently city council has approved the southbound option, which was the integration with the parklets option.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
if that is the route that we want to go, once we've reviewed the traffic plan, then I want to get a staff report to city council as soon as possible. So that's something that we can, get approved by them as soon as possible.
It would be great to have that as an option either way,
For sure.
really.
Okay. Yeah, the more options, the better, because then we have, anything can come up in the next 2 minutes.
Jasmine,
Okay.
just going back on Palm Canyon,
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
do you ever see us going back on Palm Canyon again?
For VillageFest?
Yes,
We are on
Which
Palm
portion?
We are on Palm Canyon.
all the way to Bristow, all the way, like we used to have it.
So that's currently what's approved. That's what council approved, was for us to do a phase 2, which would run from Tockwitz Canyon, inclusive of Tockwitz Canyon, east and west, all the way down to Baristo Road. So city council's approved that. So whenever we feel we have, the vendors, whenever we feel, that we're set and ready to add that extension on, we can do it at any time. What
Right.
this board discussed at our last board meeting was the option of not extending southbound, but extending northbound to Alejo Road because it has less parklets, so it's less intrusive. We could probably get probably about 15 to 20 additional vendors into the northbound area than we could into the southbound area because of the parklets. And I just realized you missed that discussion. So
Sorry about.
no. It just, if you have any feedback, it's absolutely okay to have that discussion now with the entire board. But yes, that was the discussion we had, and that's the information that the engineering department is working with right now, is what would the traffic plan look like if we detoured traffic at Alejo Road east and west, as opposed to Amato Road east and west, and not go southbound. So from Tockwitz south would still remain open at all times.
But I think aside from just the traffic, which is going to be good information that we will need, I think there's secondary information that we'll also need, which is to see a vendor layout integrated in between the parklets, because from what I've seen of it, it almost feels like VillageFest would end at Tockwitz and then start again down at Arenas. It kind of feels that way only because of the fact that that entire block, almost the entire block, has parklets.
How long will they allow the parklets to be there? Is it to the end of the year?
We don't know yet, Julie. They haven't
yeah.
really voted on it, but I encourage you, if you have an opinion on whether or not you think that parklets are good or bad for your business or other retail businesses, that you definitely let council know how you feel about that. And I don't know how you feel about it, but
Council has
you
sort
know,
of
we're
left it
trying to
out there.
get all sides heard there.
Okay,
Actually, I'd love to talk to you more about it later, Julie.
Okay.
You know,
Tell me.
about how it's affecting your business and
Okay.
yeah.
Anything else? Excuse me. Anything else on phase 2?
No, just that I will bring back a traffic plan, and I can work on a layout. I think there's two parklets southbound, right? The Peruvian, Las Casuelas, and then is it Tequila?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the northbound, those are the 3 parklets that, oh, no, the brewery has one as well. I can work on that, Dan. I'll see
that'd be
about
great.
trying to create a bit of a vendor layout with that integration.
And I was saying that I would like to see it for the southbound part, should we go into the full original footprint, because that's the area where I think we might have VillageFest for like a few blocks, then a whole block of a break, and then more VillageFest, which I don't know about you, but if I was a vendor, I wouldn't want to be in that south end.
Absolutely, I agree, Dan. I agree.
Because people will drop off.
Well, okay, so I'll tell you from my personal experience of working with the vendors for so many years, the vendors that are in the further south block, so from Arenas to Baristo, are die-hard, do not move my spot or I will kill your firstborn child vendors. And they say there's something about the restaurants that help their business so much.
Right.
So I think that I believe that if we opened up that block and it was just one side of the road, which is what it would end up being, is the west side of the street, we'd have vendors pretty much all the way down and then nothing on the other side. I think that still would be one of the most popular blocks. There's just something about the people who dine, they come out and they spend money after they've dined, probably because they're also drinking, but you know.
Even with, now would that also allow for some vendors to be between Tockwitz and Arenas? Because I walked it a few times last week and I have to say, I couldn't envision any place where we could put it.
Exactly.
So you're asking if we're going to be able to put vendors from Tockwitz Canyon down to Arenas Road?
Yeah, because my question is all based around the fact of having a whole block of a break that is really not VillageFest, and then have a south portion of VillageFest and a north portion. And I would venture to say that those vendors, they felt that way when there were no parklets and there was VillageFest traffic that was contiguous all the way down. There's no way that the VillageFest traffic would continue down a street where there's no more vendors. They're not going to notice it. Even if you put a sign, I would turn right there.
I guess I'm not following you. Where do you think there's not going to be vendors?
Tockwitz to Arenas.
So Tockwitz to Arenas has a great deal of space for vendors. Am I missing something? From
on the west side
Tockwitz
of the street,
Canyon?
maybe? Is
On
that
both
one?
sides there. You just have the one that's Zinn and the Grandini Toffee, like that area right there.
Right.
That's all there is on that side of the street. And then on the other side of the street, I think you just have the
You have El Patron.
cigar place
You have El
Yeah.
Patron.
and the and the taco place.
And then there's 2 more, I thought, below it on the right side.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm not there right now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
I'm not. I'm
Can't
trying to
remember.
remember.
But anyway, that was my concern, just so you understand, Jasmine, was that there might be an entire block in between that has no VillageFest activity.
Yeah, no, I
That's
agree
gonna
with you.
But if I'm wrong,
All right,
then
all right, all right.
correct it.
Hold on. Julie's actually going to take flight here in a second.
Okay, Julie.
So my
Okay.
question would be, if from Baristo going south, where the Bevmo is and the Rite Aid is, and there are no parklets there. Why can't we use that whole next street and just move it down? Because that street has no parklets. You can fit more vendors. You can probably fit about 60 more vendors right there.
The major reason is we don't have electricity.
Oh.
The electrical outlets stop at Baristo.
Oh.
Yeah, and Dan, I don't think there's a plan right now where there aren't going to be contiguous vendors. I don't think there's going to be a gap.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't, because in my head, I thought I saw that, but I could be wrong. And
No,
I'm corrected.
that would definitely not, I don't think, be conducive,
Yeah,
but I think we are not there.
okay.
Jasmine, what if they were to bring generators like they used to do in the old days?
So we did a cost analysis of what it would be like. We didn't do it for the further southbound than Baristo, but we did it for the discussion about putting vendors down the center lane. And it was just cost prohibitive for VillageFest and the city.
No,
you know,
let
So
the vendors provide their own generators.
Julie, from experience on that, even with the one is cheap generators create an excessive amount of sound.
Yeah.
Number two, you now have people who are more interested in cash flow than generators. So they didn't fill it up right. So now you have a generator that has been heated and they are now starting to pour gasoline into it in a crowd full of people. Fire marshals do not like generators, let alone having the gasoline in the booth.
And
So it
there's
became
another complication.
major public safety hazard.
Absolutely. And there's another complication in that we called the downtown area to Baristo, and that's what we allow the downtown merchants to have booths from. Anyone, I think it was below that, or is it below Ramon? There was somebody with Blue Dog Coffee who
Below
lived
Ramon.
across the street from the
Right.
barrier.
Right.
That's the downtown definition, yeah.
And so then I guess that opens us up to, there's a lot more downtown merchant vendors who we would have to entertain to give permits to as well.
Well,
and
we
to
also
Low
get
Road.
in,
Entertaining you.
I'm
we
sorry?
also get into shutting down the parking areas for some major businesses. Yes, only on one side, but there is some very major logistics issues, not to mention that street is a natural wash. So it has the big dip and other things. So it's actually a very good idea, but I think that on a short term, it could be very problematic. If we get big enough, we have to grow, well, then we have money
That'd
to
be
throw
great.
at power lines.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we already covered the vendor participation update.
Yes, we did. Mhm.
Okay, reports. The only report, I don't think there's any public reports, but I did do interviews on Friday to take care of some of our board seats, and I'm waiting to hear from council on that. Then
Were
I
formal
think,
interviews that were people applied for, or your recruiting?
correct,
Oh, wow. I didn't know
Correct.
that. I didn't even see them listed. Okay.
they did, well, it was out there, so. Joy, Main Street Joy.
Hi.
Sounds like an 80s DJ.
So I wanted to go back to some old program, to an older program that Jasmine and I worked on in like 2007 and 2008. It turns out it didn't feel that long ago. So it's called the BOLT program, BOLT, Businesses Open Late Thursday. And we are bringing that back through Main Street so that we can help support the VillageFest event as well by showing that there's a lot of businesses also that are going to be open late on Thursday to work together with VillageFest. And so I'm hoping that that would be something that will help to, you know, the businesses and the entire event, and that maybe the Bureau of Tourism might help out downtown on that, and maybe VillageFest as well, to maybe list them on the website, or help promote that there's also going to be businesses open. Because most are open in the footprint, but once you get out of the footprint, they are not. And so I'm hoping that we're gonna do it through Main Street either way, but I'm hoping to also have the blessing of you all that we help to promote the businesses also that are open. Julie, what time are you open till?
8 o'clock,
Generally.
8.
I think that is a
o'clock.
great idea,
8
especially
o'clock
with,
and 9 on the weekends.
that's a great idea.
Yeah,
The-
so,
it'll
you know,
help to
it
bridge that.
just makes it much more alive. Yeah,
Right.
so it's called Bolt. Jasmine, I have some old emails from 2008 between us because we were redoing the logo for it. So it just is an 8.5 by 11 sign that we put in the window so that people know that these businesses are open late Thursday in support of the event. So that's all. I'm not really asking you for anything. I just want to let you know that we're going to be bringing that back just so that we could all support each other.
I wonder if we could get some sort of media pickup on that to promote the businesses downtown.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already talking to the CVA and tourism about it because I just think it's nice. We're all going to work together.
Right.
You know, we're restarting VillageFest. I think it's just going to be really nice together. And maybe some businesses won't feel as much of a need to come out on the street if they had that encouragement that they would also be promoted as being open.
And I believe in the past, Joy, we've listed those businesses on the VillageFest website with the Bolt logo that we were created. So once we have a compiled list of those merchants, we're I'm more than happy to get that listed on there. I'm not sure, but I feel like maybe we might have supported it by actually creating the signs. Did VillageFest do that back in the day?
No,
Or am I making that up?
mean, I made the signs on my printer, yellow paper, because I like yellow too, and with black, but then you did some that were red and black and yellow. So I mean, whichever is fine. The red, black, and yellow kind of look like Superman
It sounds
to
like
me,
it.
but whatever. I mean, maybe I could even get Jeffrey to, maybe we could do something a little spiffier than what we've worked on. But I just want to let you know that I'm working on that, and we would like to just work together with the merchants and the vendors and work together.
When do you think the merchants would be, shall we say, relaunching this?
Most that I've spoken to will be open on July 1st,
Right.
at least till 9 o'clock, which is what we ask in order to be listed.
So the reason I'm asking is if we do it, so we have the big first hoopla and things move on.
Mhm.
Maybe 2 weeks or so afterwards, maybe we can get some additional media push.
Yeah.
Reach out to Jake and Gracia, or even ask Amy to make a phone call on our behalf, or get some media out there about VillageFest and the merchants working together on this.
Yes, I would like that very much. So maybe we could count on that being 2 weeks after we open back up on July 1st, so that it'll give us 2 media things to talk about with VillageFest.
Right.
Instead
So
of 1.
possibly, yeah. But then we sort of start to roll this out, and I think we then work, if it's on our website and we're working with them and they're working with us, I think that's going to help in a lot of the challenges that council has brought up.
Yes.
Okay. And if you get signs made or something and want help handing them out, knocking on doors, it wouldn't be the first time I pounded pavement on a 110-degree day.
Yeah, me either. I mean, basically, I'm just going to say, hey, are you going to be open on Thursday night? And then I'm giving them a sign.
Right, exactly. All right.
Do we have any commercials going out for opening a Village Fest?
We do not. We don't have any. The only marketing that is being done is through the communications department. And I believe it's multiple press releases that she's sent out. And she already has inquiries in terms of people who want to come and attend the first reopening. So I think we'll have some pretty good publicity for July 1st.
I thought, Joy, that commercial that you guys did through COVID was really good. I thought something like that, Village Fest, would be good to send out.
I
Which
think
one was
maybe the
that?
Bureau could do something, you know?
Was that
Oh.
done by the Bureau of Tourism?
I think it was.
I can inquire with them.
No, you should probably already be privy to this, Julie, but the Palm Springs Chamber is doing a blast and outreach to get people there also.
Yes, I am. I'm just saying that it would be cute to have, like they did it for the merchants, if we did one with all of us and talking about opening Village Fest. I think it would be, you put a face. I'm always in favor of putting a face to an entity.
Yes.
Julie, I'll contact tourism.
Okay. Like, you know, Daryl can be buffing his head and talking about Village Fest.
Get one of those bowling ball buffers. Yeah.
Yes,
Put a
perfect.
bowling ball next to you. Hey, this is Village Fest.
Joy, do you have anything else for Main Street?
No, that was all. We're super excited though for it to get started and just, you know, because we're getting back to a little bit more normalcy and it feels good.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Really?
Staff report on cannabis.
I do not have an update. The city attorney did email me today. He says he has someone working on it. And I just asked him to either one, get me something back in writing before our next board meeting, or if he would like to attend the board meeting and speak during staff reports, that he's more than welcome to kind of give us an update of what that would be. But he did email me today to let me know that he had a staff person working on it.
Okay.
And was that just whether, was that just whether or not a cannabis business would be able to, that is within the district there, would be able to come out on the street and pass out information, or?
Yes. So
And-
based on our previous discussion, I just asked if he would provide us what the current state guidelines are for it, so that as this board starts to review new vendors, they had that information on hand. And he said he had someone researching it and that they would provide us further detail. Because I told him in my original email after our last board meeting that the board was inquiring. They wanted to have that information kind of in their back pocket because they assume that in the coming months that conversation is going to come about, or they'll end up in a circumstance where someone is presenting before them and they want to have that information. And then today we had a board meeting so that if we could get the information before that date, but he was unable to get that, but he does have someone working on it. So it is on his plate to get that information to us.
And this comes from the council meeting where cannabis on businesses on the street was brought up in the meeting. So we just want to be clear what the rules are.
Correct. And it's best to get that from the city attorney. So he's getting it for us.
It's going to end up in his desk anyway.
So Jasmine, before COVID, weren't people applying so that they could hand out stuff on the street? Didn't we have that in motion?
It was just CBD products.
You know, I think in my own opinion, and I don't know how Joy feels about it, but I think there's enough cannabis downtown that I don't think, why should we advertise more? I mean, I don't understand unless they're gonna pay a fee to stand out there and advertise in a booth. That takes up room that we really don't, we can put a good vendor, you know, a good paying vendor.
Let's wait until we hear from the city attorney and then we'll go forth when applications are received.
It is on the agenda though, so we could talk about it right now, right?
Right.
So Julie, I mean, the thing that I brought up in this discussion previously was that, you know, based on the state's advertising, what the state allows as far as advertising and children and stuff,
Nope,
that
Not
this is a
allowed.
family event. So I felt like this would not be allowed in
I
a family event.
I absolutely agree with you.
Oh, Julie and I agree on something.
Well, you know, the thing
Yeah,
is
Can you
that
put that in the minutes?
the state took down all the billboards on the freeways due to that reason.
That's
So
what I thought,
they're
yeah.
becoming very strict with advertising in cannabis, and why add another headache when we don't really need that headache?
Dan, we're going to declare this a holiday, but yes, we're kind of all. This was a conversation that I had, Julie, I think when your phone wasn't working right. We lost you.
Right.
No, she was ill our last meeting. She
Was
wasn't
that the
well.
last one or the one before? Okay,
It was the
yeah,
last
Julie
one. It's the last
Yeah, I
one.
was ill.
Yeah, actually, may become one of those monumental days you hear about on Alexa's starting your day, or, you know, the news every morning, because this is pretty much everybody in agreement.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. It's not allowed on radio well, it's not allowed
Wow.
on TV.
It
So
might
it's not
rain.
allowed on the radio either.
Or
Correct.
snow.
So that was the reasons that I was bringing it up last time, was just to be very aware of the state's guidance on that, and that it might not be the right place for it.
No, it's definitely not the right place for it.
The
I can
one
actually
thing,
look up at state code tomorrow.
Well, we're not
The-
voting on that right now, right? We're still in the,
Right.
from what Jasmine said, still collecting information. So
correct.
until we have all the information, I don't know that we can even enter into a discussion, really.
Really,
I
because it may
just
be a
wanted
moot
to,
point.
what we had discussed before, because I didn't think that she was part of that meeting, and
Right.
that's all. And it is on the agenda, so it's not a Brown Act violation for us to have it.
Sorry.
So again, I'll try and get that.
Celia's pizzas
information.
arrived.
If it's not from me, it'll be from the city attorney by your next board meeting.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
I
Is
just-
everyone,
I'm
Go
sorry, I just have one staff report. We already talked about the ribbon cutting portion. I did want to let you know that one PS organization has requested to participate with VillageFest. They typically fall under like a city entity or a city program. So we have them scheduled to start as well on July 1st. They've submitted all of their appropriate information to Faith, so we have them scheduled for participation. We have a couple organizations that participate with VillageFest as city departments, city programs that participate with VillageFest free of charge. And it's been that way since before I was part of VillageFest, which was over 15 years ago now. So because we have a new city manager and he seems to be doing things in a different manner, I'm going to have that reevaluated by our city council. So I'm going to try and put a staff report together that lists all those current organizations that participate with VillageFest free of charge, so that we can get approval from city council to continue down that path. I would assume that they're going to continue that process, but I do just want to make sure that VillageFest is working above the board, and that there's no conversation about the possibility that we are allowing people to participate, some people to participate free of charge and other people not to participate free of charge. So just I'll let the board know as that moves forward. But just to be on the safer side, I would love to get approval from city council. That seems to be the process that the new city manager likes things to run. So
and that would make sense. I mean, even if it's city to city, we're paying ourselves, but there's still budgets that need to be managed appropriately.
Right.
Yes, David.
Jasmine, maybe I'm not understanding what you're inferring, but do they have a regular standing booth that talks about the benefits of being a member of your neighborhood organization? Or
That
are you
is their-
saying to be a part of the ribbon cutting ceremony to say they're a part of VillageFest?
No. They want to participate with a booth at VillageFest, just like a general vendor.
And
Which we
have they
do
done
have-
that all along?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Have they done that in the past, all the time?
Yes. Yeah, so they've done it for special events that they've come out and they've highlighted. They just want to do it on a more consistent basis. So they would come out and promote some sort of activity that they had coming up, but they want to do it more consistently.
Okay.
And they're still looking for volunteers. That's
Yes.
always the hardest part.
It is, especially
David-
during the summer.
David, aren't you with 1PS?
I am. That's why I'm just, boom, I never heard of this stuff. I'm the
It came
alternate
from the
planning
events
to-
committee.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I try and sit in on the 1PS events committee meetings because a lot of the activities that they participate in are events that are run through my office. So they requested at their last meeting to become more visible to the community, one, to get more people involved in their own personal neighborhoods, as well as just bring awareness to the program to visitors of the organization and what Palm Springs, what each neighborhood provides. So, you know,
I think it's a logical plan, one that needs to be thought out a little more. And I could see them adding value by having a regularly manned personed booth with, say, 4 representatives that rotated out every week, representing 4 different neighborhoods. But if it was a monopoly of the same 4 powerful neighborhoods all the time.
Well, that would be up to 1PS because we only approve that 1PS is getting the booth. Who staffs it is up to you guys. A regular feature, though, in what Jasmine's brought up, why she's going to do the staff report, is presently that means it's a free space and therefore we're losing booth revenue on a, so that's where that budgeting.
Every one of those little neighborhood organizations has a pretty nice budget. Believe me, I type it in every month. I know what ours is.
Okay, so Jasmine, the recommendation is we double theirs.
right?
I didn't say that, but
I don't think David will be with 1PS for very long.
But I will keep the board kind of abreast to that particular situation. I just want to make sure, not the 1PS portion, but just the portion of having participants at VillageFest, you know, that we basically compensate their spaces every month.
And thank you for thinking of that one. And we need to buy you like a little flag to wave above your head
I
every
really
few
need
minutes.
It
Yeah.
just reminds me how long I've been sitting and that I need to move more.
Thank you for thinking of that one. When do you believe might see budgets for, we're on a fiscal year, am I correct?
Correct. Mhm.
So when might we be able to see budgets for our village?
I could provide you with a copy at any time. Council approved their budget,
Right.
the next year's fiscal budget at their last council meeting. So it's available now.
Can we go ahead and send that out for our review, and then let's make I'm tempted to say, let's make it a agenda item for the next meeting.
Okay.
That way we know we all have our eyes open to our fiduciary responsibilities, and then we can either ask questions or move on.
We can do that. Mhm.
Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
That's it from staff, unless Faith has anything. Okay, so I will send a update on Monday regarding the ribbon cutting, or if there are any other updates regarding the opening, I'll get that out to you guys on Monday before the end of the day.
And as of
Thank
July
you.
1st, Village Fest is 6 to 10 PM every Thursday night now. just in perpetuity.
It's 7 until 10.
Oh, 7.
Setup starts at 6, so from 6 to 7 is the setup time. And then from 10 to 11 is the tear down time.
Okay.
And I know I asked everybody to stroll and talk to vendors, but if you don't make it, you don't make it.
Well, I was
And
just
the
gonna
heat will
ask,
get you
so if
quick.
we're getting there at 5 o'clock for the ribbon cutting,
No, 4:45.
that's right, 4:45, then what are we doing until 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Main
Drinking.
Street Joy is hosting us for a buffet dinner in the back of her store.
Well, there was a time where I hosted alcohol shots in the back of the store, but we were a lot younger. Yes.
And then we're gonna be going out and talking to the merchants. Wow.
You're the
You'll be
best.
happier.
But that's
Yeah,
a good point. That's a big break. That's a big, 5 to,
Well,
So
it
is.
gives you the opportunity though to see what it really takes for the vendors to set up and everything. But really, if you want some air conditioning or whatever, come on over to my shop and you're welcome to just sit in the back in the cool at least until you're ready to move on from there.
Even
Go
in the
have a
business
nice dinner.
attire?
Pool?
I
Do you have
I
a
hear
pool
there's some
there?
charming
No,
parklets
cool,
serving
not
food.
pool, cool.
Okay.
I don't have a
Indoor pool.
But I do have a full bathroom and a shower if you need it, so.
All right, thank you all, and I look forward to seeing everybody, as we love to say, out on the street.
Absolutely.
Did we make a
Thank
motion
you.
to end the meeting?
I was trying to, but I kind of got interrupted. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second,
Aye,
all in favor?
I.
aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Good night, y'all.
All right, we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, guys.